What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's Q&A. Thanks for tuning in. As always, if you have any questions or you want to have your question answered, the way to get it answered is simply just leave your question in the comment section below. By doing so, I will go back next week. So I will go back to this video next week and I'll look in the comment section and I'll basically go through the questions in the comment section, and that is how you get answered. As always, we need something for next week, so please ask away. It doesn't need to be fitness related or powerlifting related. It can be any question. But powerlifting may be most helpful for the majority of viewers. Okay, so first question. A weightlifter was stripped of a medal after testing positive for a drug that I'm not able to pronounce. Do you know anything about it? I don't know anything about that drug. My question is, percentage-wise, how many top-level Olympic athletes are using drugs in general and in weightlifting in particular? How long is a piece of string? I'm not sure. You know, I think that it is naive of people to believe that absolute top-level multi-million pound athletes where, you know, gold medals at the Olympics are at stake, which will get you millions of pounds worth of sponsorships, or maybe a £1 million contract for the NFL, or million pound contract for, say, football or soccer, for you Americans, or for boxing, MMA, you know. I think that it would be slightly naive to say, you know, no, there's no chance anyone's taking drugs. But I also think that it isn't really fair to just label everyone as taking drugs, you know. I think that if someone has never tested positive, they've never skipped drug tests, you know, they haven't skipped or bypassed drug tests. If they've always, you know, had their drug tests when they're meant to have them, you know, they've not ran away from the random drug tests and not refused drug tests, and they've passed a drug test, I think it's wrong to just slander that individual and say, yeah, he you know, it's obvious he takes drugs. I think it's slightly wrong. Percentage-wise, how many? I don't know. Some would say all of them, some would say none of them. I really don't know. I don't have enough information on that. I would like to think, you know, hopefully the majority of them aren't taking anything, but I think that maybe be a little bit naive to think that on multi-million pound athletes. I believe in something like powerlifting, where there's a non-tested side. I would say that the temptation to cheat probably isn't as high as there's a non-tested side, and often the most lucrative or the most popular powerlifters that I know of tend to be non-tested. So I would say in powerlifting, I don't think it's honestly that, personally think is that high. Next question. Did you know that birds have knees? Well, you're talking about birds as in females, then yes, and their knees can come in very handy sometimes. Yeah, actual like birds, like the animal. I'm not sure if you're trolling or not. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would say that they have some form of a knee structure, for sure. If you had, example, 16 weeks until a competition, would you test your max halfway, or would you accumulate volume over the full period? Yeah, I mean, no, I wouldn't test my max. I mean, what's the point, you know? What's the point in testing your max? What's that going to do, you know? It doesn't matter what you do in your max in the gym. You know, if you hit a 300 kilo squat in the gym, who cares? Can you perform that in the platform? You know, and on top of that, you know, if you've got 16 weeks to prepare for a competition, you do all-out testing. You're going to have to taper into that. So you've got 16 weeks, right? You're going to have to then taper. There's not going to be really much time to accumulate volume, because if you accumulate volume, you're going to have to taper your volume going into that. You're then going to have to taper in the week of your of testing. Then you're going to have to test, and then you're going to have to slightly deload the next week, and then start introducing volume again. So by that happening, you know, you've lost so much time to build the movement. So what's the point? You know, I mean, getting closer to the competition, yeah, you're going to test singles, but you know, I mean, I really believe that there's absolutely no need to ever go above 96 or 97% for a single, and that would probably be about 2 weeks out, you know. So no, absolutely not. I think it's a waste of time, and I think that what you do in the gym is irrelevant. You know, I would be much more interested in accumulating volume. You know, if I have 16 weeks, I'm probably going to accumulate quite hard volume for probably 6 to 7 weeks. Maybe start to taper the volume slightly back for 3 weeks. You know, maybe do a 90% AMRAP. You know, so say you take 90% in the bar, say I get 5 reps all around, that means I know I'm 2 reps ahead of what my max is. I might increase my max by say 2%, and then, you know, we start kind of somewhat accumulating a little bit of volume, and then we start peaking pretty hard and start intensifying the loads, and probably work up to maybe a 95 to 97% single. But no, I wouldn't test. I think it's a waste of time, and I don't think it's necessary. Thanks a lot for answering my question, dude. Not a problem, my man. Thank you for answering. Next question. If you had to lose a limb, which one would you lose, your dick being included? I would lose a leg. I would lose one leg. If you lose an arm, I feel upper body wise you probably start to become a little bit deformed, you know, and I would feel that you would have a lot of imbalances throughout your upper body and start to look a little bit deformed. I feel if you lost a leg, you could still have the other leg working very well, and I feel that you could probably get some form of a prosthetic leg, whereas you can't really get a prosthetic arm. So yeah. Would you ever open your own facility or your own gym? Yeah, that's a great question. Right now I don't have plans to. Is it something I would like to do? Yeah, absolutely. It would be something that I've thought about. Whether I'd like to do it or not, I'm not sure. You know, it won't be within the foreseeable 5 years, but you know, 10 years down the line, it might be something I'm really interested in. But yeah, of course, it's something I've thought about. Whether I do it or not is a different story, but it's definitely something that is in the back of my mind. Would you rather, quite a few of these questions are all from the same guy, I'm sure you could tell, he's pretty funny. Would you rather not be able to deadlift for a year or not be able to get an erection for a year? Serious, don't lie. That is a very tough one. The only way I think I could get around this is if I chose I would deadlift for a year, not be able to get an erection for a year, I'd be able to take something like Viagra, and by taking Viagra I'd still be able to get a hard on, therefore still be able to do the business, and I'd still be able to deadlift, so technically I could, but I mean if Viagra is not part of the package and I wouldn't be able to get a hard on, just no, I probably would have to give up deadlifts for a year and just get my squat sky high, because I ain't giving that up, you know. He's needed a little bit too much, you know. There's a lot of demand. Yeah. Next question. Mark, can you say burglar alarm? Of course I can. Burglar alarm. Do you wipe sitting down or standing up? I wipe standing up. And next question is, who are your favourite powerlifters? Yeah, my favourite powerlifters are Pete Rubish, Lane Norton and Ben Rice are my three favourite powerlifters by a country mile. They're three people that I actively watch and actively look for some form of I look up to, and you'll get quite a bit of inspiration and motivation from. So Pete Rubish, Lane Norton and Ben Rice are my three favourite powerlifters, and I'm not really all about jumping on the bandwagon of having your favourite powerlifter being the greatest powerlifter of all time. You know, that doesn't really merit someone to just be your favourite because of the best. You know, that's very comfortable to do that. But Pete Rubish, Lane Norton and Ben Rice are my favourite, and Pete Rubish has probably been the #1 favourite since I started, because he's the reason I got into powerlifting. You know, he's the first person I ever started watching, and he's the person that was like, you know, I want to be like him, I want to do powerlifting competitions like him, and yeah, so Pete Rubish, Lane Norton and Ben Rice. So thanks for watching, guys. Didn't have as many questions as usual, so if possible please leave some more fitness or powerlifting related questions, or even nutritional, recovery oriented questions down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to all of you next time.